Okay, you guys, so you have decided that you are going to find your own housing. You're going to take the stipend and find your own housing. What next? What do you do now? How do you spot the scammers, and what questions do you ask landlords? Don't worry, we're going to cover all of that in this video. Okay, so scamming is very much so a thing. It's not going to go anywhere, all right? As long as people see an opportunity, they're going to take it. But we're not going to let them take advantage of you. So when you are looking for housing, this is how you're going to spot the people who can possibly be scamming you. Okay, so one, you don't know these people. You don't know them at all. So you want to verify that they are who that they say that they are. So you want to do a FaceTime or video chat call with them just to have a face-to-face. If they do not want to do a FaceTime or video chat call, that is a red flag. I am a landlord. I have no problem with hopping on the phone or a video with anyone who wants to see me or the space. Now, I am a long distance landlord at times, so when that happens, I have a video already recorded of the space that I send to them, but it's no worries because I also have people in place at the space who can go and do a video run through with them to show them the property. So I still make sure that I accommodate the future tenant to make them feel more comfortable, especially since we're both from afar, right? So you just want to be mindful that if someone's being really pushy and not being very accommodating, then chances are they're trying to scam you, or you just don't want to deal with that person at all, because if they're already making it difficult for you before you move in, imagine how it's going to be when you're trying to get access to the place, when you're trying to get keys, when you're filling out a lease, when you're actually living there. So just think about those things. Okay, so next up, if it seems too good to be true, then chances are it is, right? So if you see a 1-bedroom, fully furnished turnkey unit in the San Francisco Bay Area for $1,600 a month, chances are it's a scam. I'm not saying that they all are, but that's a too good to be true situation, especially when houses starts off at like $2K in the San Francisco Bay Area. Now, you definitely want to do your due diligence on that property. Pay attention to the pictures, right? Google the photos. See if it's going to pop up on another listing, okay? And then also just be mindful of like the surroundings inside of the photos. A lot of times the photos will be a dead giveaway that it's not for that particular property. For example, when I was in Hawaii, I was looking online for a place to stay, and there was this really nice condo that came available. It was supposed to be in Waikiki, on like the top floor. However, when I was looking at the photos, the windows were completely open, and it was in kind of like a tropical rainforest area. Like it was very, very green outside from the windows. That was a dead giveaway, considering in Waikiki there's hardly any trees, especially at the very top. You're either going to see ocean, more buildings, or like the mountain skyline. So that is another way to protect yourself, is just pay attention to what is going on inside of the photos, okay? You definitely want to be careful when you're paying security deposits. A lot of landlords will want you to pay a security deposit to hold the space. Do not give them pushback when it comes to paying the security deposit. They just want to make sure that you're serious about renting out the space. As a landlord, a lot of times it can be quite frustrating when you hold a property for someone only for them to back out a week later and you've turned down several other potential tenants trying to accommodate that person. So that's why we ask for a security deposit, just to hold your space and to know that you are serious about actually moving in. Okay, so paying the security deposit, I will be very careful about people who ask to pay via Western Union. And that's just me. We are not back in the 1990s, okay? We are in 2022. It's a lot of ways to make a payment to someone outside of Western Union, okay? You can do a wire transfer. There is PayPal, there's Cash App, there is Venmo, there is Zelle. There are a lot of ways to make a payment to someone, and it does not have to be Western Union. If you're doing a PayPal transaction, I would encourage you to do it that you're sending it to a business or an organization and not to a family or friend, because this person is a stranger. You do not know them. And the only way that PayPal can protect you or give you back your money is if you say that you are paying a business or an organization. So it will be worth it to cover the cost of that fee just to give yourself that added protection, because if you say you're sending it to a family or friend and they actually turn it out to be fraudulent, you will just lose out on that money. The same thing goes for Cash App and Venmo. You kind of run that risk when you're paying through those routes that saying like it's a family or a friend instead of saying that you're paying a business, okay, or you're paying for a service. I am one of those people who have paid through Venmo before without meeting my landlord prior to. However, I had done my due diligence. I verified that they were who they said that they were. You have access to legal documents that are public records online. So if you're renting a room in someone's home, you can absolutely go to that county's website and type in their name and see if they're actually the owner of that address. And if they're not, ask the questions that need to be asked, okay? Don't just blow it off with the wind and be like, oh, you know, maybe they're just a friend or relative, or maybe they're a property manager running that for them. Like, ask the questions. If you're suspicious, ask the questions and let them give you an answer. If your gut is telling you that it's a scam, chances are it is. So just move on and find something else, okay? It is going to be the most time-consuming process of your life is finding housing, but you also want to be very cautious, do your due diligence so that you're not being scammed out of hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on your hunt for housing. Okay, so that was just a quick little tidbit about how to avoid getting scammed. Let's just move on into the next segment, which is what questions do you want to ask potential landlords? Okay, so the first question that I always ask, especially in the California area, the Bay Area, LA area, San Diego area, is parking included? Or do I need a permit for parking? This isn't a big deal in rural areas, but when you're going to like major cities, parking can be an issue. Some apartments, some properties do not include parking. You have to do off-street parking. Some places don't have parking garages. So you're just going to want to know what the parking situation is like and if you're going to have to pay for it or cover it or get a special permit. Does the unit or the house apartment include AC and heat? And by AC, I mean central AC and heat, because a lot of places don't, especially in Northern California. They go by what's called forced air, which is literally you open the window and let the breeze come in. And it's the same way in Hawaii. Not a lot of places have central air and heat. You're either going to be going by the island breeze, which is just open a window, or they'll have an AC unit inside of the apartment. So that's another thing to be mindful of when you're booking a place to stay. How much is the security deposit? If you're not comfortable with the security deposit, just negotiate with them. Just like, hey, that's a bit more than what I want to cover. Will you be okay with accepting this amount? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. You just kind of have to go with it, okay? And figure it out as it comes along. If you're doing a room rental type of situation, you're going to want to know if you have access to the kitchen, if you have access to the living room, the laundry room, the front, the backyard, the garage. Like, these are questions to ask because some landlords don't allow you to have access to their kitchen if you're renting a room for them. Some of them will put a refrigerator and a microwave in your room and expect you to just literally be in your room the entire time that you're inside of the home. And if that's not something that you're comfortable with, then that's not a place that you need to be. Okay, so that is definitely also a question that you need to ask. Of course, how much is the rent is a given. But you also want to discuss how the security deposit will be returned to you, and in what amount of time will it be returned to you. Some of them will be mandated by law, like they have to return the security deposit to you within 2 weeks. And then some, they just don't. So you just want to make sure that you have that communication with the landlord and that it's in writing in your lease agreement. Okay, and that is also important, is that you have a lease agreement. I don't recommend you doing any type of housing situation without a lease agreement, whether if it is a room rental or you're doing an entire apartment or house. You need a lease. You need something that's going to protect you in case something happens that's in writing. All right, that is the worst thing that you can possibly do, is to move into a place and then the landlord decides, oh, I want to sell it. You have to be out tomorrow. You're screwed if you don't have a lease. You literally have to be out that very next day, because there's no lease, there's nothing in writing. But if you had a lease and it says that the landlord has to give you 30-day notice, then they're required to give you 30 days to find something else and to move out. So make sure that you have a lease. Other questions to ask are going to be like, is there Wi-Fi in the home, right? Is utilities included inside of the rent, or is that something that you have to pay separately? Be mindful that some landlords will give you a cap on utilities, and that is just because in the summer months, AC can get quite expensive, and they don't want you like turning the AC all the way down to like 64 and driving the utility bill up to $300, and they are required to cover all of that simply because it was saying utilities were included in rent. So just be mindful and know that some landlords say, hey, utilities are included, but electricity is up to $150, $250 per month for that reason. Just so you can just be a little bit more environmentally friendly and cautious of your electricity usage. Okay? All right. Oh, you want to know if there are any house rules. So can you smoke in the house? Can you wear shoes inside of the house? Trash day, like those type of things. Just have them to give you a little quick run through of the house rules, things you should and shouldn't do when you are inside of the home. You really want to be respectful of the space that you are in. You want to try to just keep it clean and tidy, and not damage the property, because remember, you are a travel nurse or you're a traveling professional. You are doing more than just representing yourself. You are actually representing this entire profession. And if you do something that's going to just literally slander everyone, that's just what that landlord is going to associate with every single last person. They're just going to be like, oh, these travel nurses, they're just so disrespectful. They don't respect my property. They just do anything, do whatever they want. So just make it easier for the next person and just try to be as completely respectful as possible when you're inside of these spaces and when you're dealing with these landlords. And I say respectful a lot then, but just emphasizing to be respectful. Okay, so is there a cleaning fee? So you want to know if they're going to charge you a cleaning fee to move in or to move out, or if there's going to be a housekeeper that comes every single week or bi-weekly or monthly to keep the space nice and tidy while you are there. So that is something that's really important to know. If you want to know if the place is like fully furnished, meaning there's going to be towels, linens, cookware, like glasses, dishes, silverware, pots, pans. If you're a cooker and you want a specific item in the kitchen, ask them if they have it available. That way you will know to like bring it with you and not to leave it behind at home. Ooh, will you have control over the thermostat? That just kind of ties into the whole utilities thing. Some landlords won't let you change the thermostat just because individuals can be quite unreasonable when it comes to their electricity usage and turning the AC down to 64 in the summer and then blasting it to 80 in the winter. A lot of landlords will give you a restriction telling you, hey, you can't turn it down below 72 in the summer and you can't go above 70 in the winter. Like, they will literally tell you these things, and if it's something that's just not okay with you, then just move on to the next place. Don't sit here and bicker with them about it. Like, obviously they're saying this because they've had an experience in the past that required them to have this, so just move on to the next one and just let it go, or tell them you're okay with covering the cost of that increased electrical bill to accommodate you, or ask them if you can cover the difference of the electricity bill to allow you to have control of the thermostat and place it at the temperature that you desire. Okay, that's about it. Those are the main questions that I ask when I am looking for a property or searching for a room rental or a apartment to live in. I just run through that list. A lot of these questions will be answered in the posting. But of course, when you reach out to the landlord, you guys will have a back-to-back dialogue, so you can just go through that when you guys are having a discussion, or when you do your video chat and you're doing your face-to-face time. Okay, so that is all for this video, you guys. I hope you learned something, and if you did not, there are going to be much more videos to come, so just stay tuned. As usual, I really hope that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and place a comment down below if you have any questions or if you just enjoyed what you just watched. All right, you guys have a great one. I will see you on the next one. Bye.